Hey, well, welcome back. And this is the beginning of part two, and this will be exciting, at least for me, because I've been waiting for this for a very long time. As a matter of fact, ever since that we saw this home and kind of fell in love with it, the only thing that there's a few things that are going on around the home, so I'll just leave it at that. There's numerous projects that we've done, but the core part of the home we really loved. So one thing that I really disliked, I don't know if my wife really cares much or not, but one of the things that I just did not like at all was the fact that the garage floor is an absolute disaster. So, well, you guys saw part one. You saw how I had everything all nice and organized and everything was looking pretty good, except for the floor. And that's what's getting taken care of tomorrow. Today is the day before the job is going to get done, and we're going to get the floor epoxy coated. So I'm really looking forward to that, because the epoxy coating that you can see on the floor right now is a disaster. And it was like this when we moved in. I had nothing to do with this. I know what it takes in order for this to get done correctly, and it's pretty obvious that this was not done correctly because it just all came up. But if you watch part one, I kind of elaborate on that a little bit. So I just wanted to kind of like kick things off on part two by just showing you where we're at right now. And I mean, I even they said get everything out. So I mean, I took them literally, right? There's a cabinet that used to be over there that I even took that out. And as you can see, the painters didn't move it, and I don't blame them. I don't think that they would go through to that degree to prep a garage for painting. So I'm probably gonna wind up, before I move everything back in, just paint that also, just because, you know, everything else was had a fresh coat of paint. But I mean, even though we've only been living here for about like 6 months, I mean, the walls are already starting to look like they're getting a little bit of like just dirt and stuff like that on them. So maybe just take a roller and kind of like give it a fresh coat again before I start moving everything back in, because it's going to be really difficult, you know, once we start getting everything back in here, to actually do any sort of like painting or anything like that. So now is the time to do that. I'll probably replace all the receptacle covers that you see as well, because they're all just garbage. I mean, you can see this is just looking really terrible. So I want to make it all look really nice in here. I'm spending a lot of money on getting this floor done correctly. So why not just make sure that everything in here is, you know, top notch, or at least as top notch as I'm willing to get it. Because I am a perfectionist to a degree, right? Like once there's a threshold that's been crossed, I'm kind of like, okay, you know what, that's good enough, which is probably a good thing, because I know that some people can get a little obsessive about things. And I do to, like I said, a degree, but it's not that bad. So as you can see outside here right now, those are all the racks that I had put together. And now they're sitting outside because nothing can be in here when they're doing this. And I have a brand new compressor as well that I'm excited to get that hooked up. And maybe after, I don't know if I'll wait until they're done with the, maybe I'll include that as part of the part three, because remember I said I was going to go ahead and I got some plans also for in here that I'm not going to disclose just yet. You'll have to wait for part three to see exactly what I'm talking about. But part two is mainly just going to be these guys doing this epoxy floor. I'm going to go ahead and set up a camera in here, so that way, you know, we can get some footage of it, and you'll be able to see via time lapse exactly what it takes for them to go from this to making it look really nice. And I'm really looking forward to that. And if I say really one more time, I don't know, I should just stop saying really, or better yet, I'll just stop right now, because I will ramble on, because I don't know, maybe it's the echoing in here, but it sounds really cool when you talk. So anyways, I will see you guys in a little bit, and next up will be some information about the project, the process that they're going to be doing, as well as some time lapse, and it should be interesting. And I'll see you at that point. Okay, well, those guys sure work fast, don't they? So here we are, and we have a nice brand new, absolutely fantastic looking floor now. This is like in order of magnitudes better than the just giant mess that was here before. And as I mentioned, I did go ahead and wind up painting the walls again too. And also the baseboards. I just finished up painting the baseboards down here. And so the next step at this point, oh, and the other thing I did too is I went through, like I had a bunch of plate covers for all the outlets and stuff. So I replaced all those. The only thing that I'm still gonna wind up doing at some point in the future is you can see there's kind of, it's a mix and match, right? There's some of these covers that are ivory colored, and then I've got some like the light switches over there. Those are what I really want, the white ones, where it's white on white because it's white walls and it just matches. I mean, the ivory ones look okay, but they really look dated. I don't know, that ivory thing just reminds me of like early, like, you know, the 70s and the 80s, like even maybe into the 90s. But all the white ones, and especially the outlets that have like the GFCI style, even this one's still an ivory one. So I'm gonna wind up replacing, like I said, all this stuff and get this style instead, because I just think that looks way, way better than the ivory stuff and those old style receptacles. Just not really a fan. So yeah, I haven't really moved anything in here yet. That's gonna be the next step, and I'll go ahead and get a time lapse of that because, you know, that's always a lot of fun. Not really, but let me tell you, my wife and I are gonna be absolutely thrilled to get all the stuff that is crammed inside this house. And I also got some stuff that's out on the patio right now. It's a covered patio, so I mean, no real worries about anything that would get wet out there, even though we did get a pretty big storm that rolled through here. Like, I want to say it was over a week ago now, maybe a week and a half or something like that. That's going to be another project that I got going on, so you can stay tuned for that because I'll probably wind up recording that as well. The problem that we have here is that every time that we get a massive amount of water, the way that the backyard slopes, it comes down this way. We have a swimming pool, and every time we get a massive amount of rain, it all comes out of our gutters and it goes into like all this mud and stuff like that, and then it all runs into our pool. And it's driving me crazy. It doesn't drive my wife as crazy because she's not the one that has to clean the pool. I am. And I'm getting sick and tired of it, so I got a plan for that. But anyways, I kind of digress because that's just kind of lining things up for like probably the next project. As I mentioned, also there's another project that will be done with the garage after I get everything moved in and get things all squared away. You're probably seeing this right here and maybe you're wondering what the heck's going on here. Well, the people that own this home, that I don't know if it was the people that own the home or the original owners. I'm the third owners of the home. The previous owner, previous residents here only lived here for a couple of years. So really it was the people that lived here before the last people that lived here. They're the ones that owned it the longest. The other people only lived here like maybe, I think it was 2 years. But this is where it used to be. You can kind of see where there was old paint that was gray, right? I probably should have hit it with a second coat, and maybe I will go over it with a second coat at some point in the future when, like, if it really starts to bug me. But right now it looks like a million times better anyways. But what they had done was when they had mounted this cabinet up there, they just kind of took a screw shotgun approach where they just drilled in all over the place, hoping that they're going to hit a stud. So like, and then the big problem with that is that they use these big long, like 3.5, maybe 4-inch screws that only had threads that went up like 3/4 of the way up the shank. Which means that when you screw a screw like that into the drywall and it goes into a void, what winds up happening is it'll screw up to a certain point and then just go the rest of the way in, just kind of like sink in. And then when you try to back it out, well, since there's no threads biting anything, they just sit there and spin. So there was like 7 or 8 screws that were embedded in this stupid thing. And I just had to like take this thing and just like physically brute force it off the wall. So I kind of busted it a little bit on the back here, but you know, I got my clamps and some wood glue, glue it back together. I'm not really that concerned. It's not like it's some kind of like super awesome cabinet. I mean, you can see it's just garbage, like particle board. Well, yeah, it's just particle board. I was gonna think of OSB or like MDF, but it's not even. If it was MDF, that'd be great. But you know, this is just this chintzy particle board, cheap junk. You know, I think maybe the doors might actually be real wood. So the doors are nice, and probably the frame. Yeah, I think the frame that goes around it. This is real wood too, but the sides and the back. Well, it's not even the back. The back is just this thin piece of, I don't know, it's almost like that cardboard kind of stuff. I don't know if it's actual wood or not. I think it's just laminated cardboard or something. But it's just got like particle board on the sides. I think it's real wood on the top too, maybe. I don't know. Can't really tell. Actually, I think that was that's particle board. Just particle board that's laminated. Anyway, one casualty that I had, but other than that, everything else like turned out pretty dang nice. I'm really happy with this. It just looks so much better. So now the problem that I have is that the garage door looks terrible. I mean, everything else looks fantastic, and the garage door looks all just gross, and I don't know. I think that this is like sheet metal. So I think what I can do is just or is it sheet metal? Yeah, it's sheet metal. It's just textured sheet metal. I think I could just clean that up. Just get like, those those cleaning brushes that I reviewed a little bit ago. I think that's what I'll do, is I'll just go ahead and get those cleaning brushes and hit those up and see if I can't get that cleaned up. But yeah, now the other thing I'm gonna do, I almost forgot about this, and I'll go ahead and get this in a time lapse too. But if you remember, there was a cabinet that was over here, and it had a, kind of a workbench surface on it, and it was just painted this just atrocious looking orange with, I guess they tried to do something similar to what they had done to the floor, where they threw a bunch of like flakes on it to try and like spruce it up. I don't know. It looks terrible. It sticks out like a sore thumb. So I'm gonna go ahead and strip that of the paint that's on there and repaint that first. So I'm gonna repaint that, and then I'm gonna start putting everything back in here. I'm definitely not gonna, this is gonna be a multi-day project because it's already noon. I had spent time this morning just swapping out all these plates because the old plates look terrible. And even these outlets, the outlets themselves, I had to go through with a sanding block and just sand them because there was a bunch of old paint and stuff like that was stuck to it, and it just looked really terrible. I mean, once you start making stuff look nice, all the things that don't look nice stick out like a sore thumb. So it's like, I couldn't just leave it like that. It was bugging me. So I was like, okay, I got to spend a little bit of extra time. So I don't know. If you're really thinking about tackling a large project and you're thinking about how much time it's going to take, think about adding some additional time to it, because I've done so many projects now over the years that that's just one of those things that I need to remember, is that whenever I think it's going to take like 2 days, add on like another day and a half. And I'm really looking forward to getting this completely wrapped up. And yeah, that's the other thing too. Like I gotta, there's still some things that are out here that I have to get done. Like that outside window there, it's a double pane window with a sash that goes up. That outside one is busted, so I need to get that taken care of, because that's driving me crazy too. All right, so next up will be stripping and paint. Not me, I'm not stripping, but I'll be stripping the paint off that workbench and getting that painted, and then time lapse of moving everything back in here and getting it all kind of like straightened up. So enjoy, and then I'll have just a post wrap up after everything's in here, just to kind of go over it, and I suspect I'm going to be really even more happy than I am right now, and looking forward to it. So, all right, let's get it taken care of. Okay, so that is a wrap. Man, it took several days. I know I just mentioned the other day to you guys, it's just going to be the same video, of course, but I mentioned the other day that, the only pressure that I put on myself is, I should say, the only pressure that I'm under is the pressure that I put myself under. That's what I meant to say. And this is kind of one of those scenarios right here, because there is another project that I need to go ahead and start, and that'll be the very next video that I have right now. And that is, I think I already mentioned, like we're having some problems with getting some water taken care of in our backyard, and it's going into the swimming pool. So that'll be the next video that I go to. And we're supposed to be getting some rain this weekend, and I want to try and get as much of this done as possible. Hopefully, get that project, started and potentially working. I don't know. I have to wait and see. It's going to be kind of a lot of stuff that's involved, but that's the pressure that I put myself under, is that I wanted to go ahead and start this other project and hopefully get that, in an operational status. So that said, every day after work, I went ahead and came out here and started putting stuff away. And that's probably why you'll see like the time of day is going to be pretty different between, today, for example, and the other days that I was putting some of the stuff away. But I did capture almost everything on time lapse. So that way, it'll be a really compressed, very condensed version. Because like I said, it took a long time to get all this stuff back in here. I mean, you saw where I was. There was like literally nothing in here, right? So now we are styling. Everything is back. There's still some stuff that I need to do out here. Make no mistake, there are a few things, like for example, that shelf, like I had mentioned, it had gotten broken. I'm going to be putting that back up there. And the compressor needs to get wired in. So I contacted the electrician, haven't heard back from him yet, but so this is around the new year. So more than likely there's going to be a heck of a lot of people that are not around, which I completely understand. And then that pile of stuff right there, I'm just going to give that stuff away, because it's just stuff that I don't need anymore. And some of it doesn't work, like that rigid paint mixer or cement mixer. It's a handheld mixer. Like, I don't know, I think maybe I put too much strain on it when I was mixing cement one time, and it just stopped working. Like, it doesn't, I don't remember it actually like not working, but I just tried to use it the other day to mix some paint, and it just, you could tell the motor sounds like it seized. Maybe there's a burnt winding in it or whatever. Anyway, there's this one guy that I had contacted me on Craigslist when I was giving some stuff away, and he let me know, hey, if you ever got stuff that you're just going to give away, give me a call first, because I'll probably take almost anything that you got. He's just like, he likes to collect a lot of stuff that's free on Craigslist. Probably tries to refurbish it and turn it around, which is, that's fine. I get it. That's cool. It's just things that, I could easily just toss that stuff in the trash, But I'm kind of like one of those people that I would rather somebody get some use out of something, even if I don't want it anymore. That doesn't necessarily mean that somebody else doesn't. So that's why, it's really cool that this other guy that was on Craigslist let me know about that. So, okay, so as you can see, I've got everything up on the shelves here. Like, I try to do some kind of like sensible order to things. So this is kind of like all the stuff that isn't tools or things that are related to that. So, just a bunch of random stuff. And then other things that are really big, like there's these boxes up here, they're actually more water storage containers. And then, I got my drums and stuff like that. I got a workshop eventually that's going to be going up on the property here. And that's where all the music stuff is going to go. So I don't really have a home for that right now. So it's just going to kind of live on the shelf. And then over here, you can see I got some of my woodworking stuff, again, that is actually going to go in the shed way in the back. But before I do anything like that, I'm going to also kind of renovate that shed a bit. So that'll be another project. I'm probably not going to wind up doing much in the shed. Maybe I'll do that as a video at some point in time, because I do have to refiberglass some parts of it. It's actually a fiberglass shed, like the shell is fiberglass, which is kind of cool. Everything else inside of it's all, typical stick built, like wood frame and all that, but the actual like walls are made out of fiberglass. But they decided to punch some holes through it. I don't know why they did that. But anyway, I want to get those sealed up, and then I'm going to get the inside spray foamed, so that way it'll be a little insulated in there, because right now there's no real insulation in there. So anyways, got a bunch of stuff over here, like my camping stuff. I got this HeroScape game that takes up a lot of room, and I figured putting in there would be good. And then just a bunch of other random stuff. Some of this stuff will be going to the workshop, like the guitar holders and all that. Some old music CDs. Everything is streaming. You can't hear it because obviously YouTube would just flag it, but I have my cell phone out here, and that's what's hooked up to my system out here, so that way I can listen to some music while I was doing all this stuff, because it would be mighty dull just not having anything. And then all the tools and things like that are over here. More water storage, my folding sawhorses, my freezer and refrigerator for out here. We have obviously got one inside the house too, but we got more. We have a lot of food, so we kind of stash some of it out here as well. And then you can see, look at my toolbox and a lot of the outdoorsy kind of stuff that goes over here. So yeah, I really tried my best to try and organize things as much as possible. And I gotta say, now I am really happy about this. The floor is absolutely amazing now. I'm so thrilled with this, and it's all nice and organized. And I still got plenty of room. There's still like plenty of empty shelves. So that way later on down the road, I'm actually out. I only have that one small little Sterilite container left. Those big ones, they're too big. Like, I mean, they're big and that's great, but I don't want to have them like hanging over the shelves over here. So got them up there for right now. I'm sure that I'll probably move that out to the shed at some point in time. But for right now, that's good enough. But I'm just absolutely thrilled. And I hope that you guys enjoyed the journey so far. There will be another part to the garage project that I've got. It's going to be a long time in the making though, because as far as priorities are concerned, it's kind of down there. I got a lot of other things around this house that I need to take care of first. But eventually I'm going to get to that. So stand by. And yeah, you know what? I got to end this right now because I got another project right now I got to start. And just to kind of give you an idea of like where things are at, you can see this giant pile of pea gravel out here. That's going to get utilized for the backyard. And I will see you guys in a little bit. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get this up, but hopefully it'll get up sometime soon. And then not soon after that, I'll have another video showing like how I tackled this problem I'm having in the backyard. All right, see you guys later.